Hello Tube and Tubettes. This is Dave Dixon, if you don't know me, and I live up in Northern California. I'm a pool salesman, so I'm actually on my way to an appointment here on Saturday at 10 o'clock. I don't normally do Saturday appointments. I try not to do Saturday and Sundays, but the appointments are really slow. And so I thought, well, I better get off my high horse and take a Saturday appointment. This one here is in a local town called Elk Grove. It's about 35 miles from where I'm at, but I always try to leave about an hour early, and then that way I can, not have to be rushed. This apparently is a second home that they're restoring or, working on remodeling, and I'm assuming that they're going to move into this house, and they want to have an estimate on a swimming pool. So I did get another lead. I got it yesterday, and I was really excited because the leads have been very, very slow. And on this, when I come out, on this other lead that I got, I just called them. I called them yesterday. I always call as soon as I get the lead, to try to make contact with them. And I was thinking, wow, if they're close, they're in Sacramento, I can just stack the leads and go to that one right after this one. And so I called him. I did get a hold of him. He did answer, and I will call every day, for about 5 days, just to make sure that they know that I have the right number and everything else. And so I did call him, and it's about 9 o'clock when I called him, and he did answer, but he just wanted to know if we installed childproof fencing. And I said, well, no, because of the liability that's involved with it with California, our liability exposure can be as long as the pool company is around. So because of that, we don't sell pool fencing. We recommend other pool fencing companies. A lot of them are set up as corporations in case they have a child drowning or something major where they get sued. They'll just close the business down. And so those guys may or may not carry liability insurance. It's not actually required, so they don't carry it. And then you've got some, I would say, more reputable companies that do carry the liability insurance. And it can be a couple $100,000 in California, especially for childproof fencing around a swimming pool. So obviously the first one is a lot cheaper, because they're not carrying it. They're actually doing a corporate protection or an LLC. And then the second one that is carrying it, it's going to be reflected in their price. They're not going to be the same price. They have to raise their prices. And so for us, it's one of those things that, you might make a couple $1,000s or $1,000 as a company, having it under your construction, but it's really not worth it because the liability on it just never ends. And California is probably one of the most litigious states. And it's even to the point that if we recommend somebody, like I've had it many times in the past, 10, 15 years ago, where someone would say, hey, do you guys have a good landscaper? And I'd say, oh yeah, we got this guy, just call him up. It would be, he'll be able to take care of you. And then things go sideways, then you'll be listed in the lawsuit because they would not have known about this person had I not said it. And I even have to be careful because even if I say it in a social setting and they know that I'm a Swan Pools guy, they can still go after our company for it. So the way you can protect yourself in that case, if you do want to give them a name, because say they're a friend or they were a friend, then you probably give them 3 names. That way they'd have 3 different options that they could have used, and you're not saying that this one person is good or not. And when I hear things like, oh, do you know anybody that can reinstall the gate or the fence, that we use for an access? And we're like, oh my gosh, that's like my ears perk up, because you do not want to be at this late of this, stage of your life, being brought into a lawsuit. So I'm very careful about that. And that's also another reason why, I don't think I mentioned it before, but a lot of our competitors, the salesman will be an independent rep, meaning that he's paid on a 1099. So say the commission on a pool is $4,000, they would just give him $4,000. And then he'd have to take care of his own withholding. he should actually carry E&O insurance, errors and admissions, in case he does make a mistake, someone gets injured, due to his design. And sometimes you could just be listed in there, and they know they don't really have a case against you, but they're just going to list you down as an additional person that if during the litigation they were to find out, oh, well, this guy made this, crazy step that nobody's ever done, first time he's ever done it, and so he's brought into the litigation, and actually you would have to represent yourself, or the pool company may not represent you. Now, I have been involved with companies like that, and I had a situation one time where built a pool, and it was for an attorney. And then it was just weird that it was one of those times where I was transitioning to where I'm working now. But when I worked for this other company, I did work as an independent rep. So I did have exposure to litigation. And I remember it had something to do with maybe the AC unit, like the pool was too close to the AC unit. I'm going to say like maybe 6 inches too close. Which one of the options that you can do, and one of the options I told them, is you can move the AC unit, closer to the house, because you need to have 6 inches of airspace around it, and then you'd be fine. It would be cool. And this was an attorney. He was actually an Oriental guy. I'm Oriental. I'm Japanese American, and so I had to call him. I had to talk to him. And he goes, oh, Dave. He goes, we're not going to list you, in the lawsuit that we have against your company, because I just wanted to get some information, ask some information from you. Now, already my ears are perked up because my wife is a paralegal, so I don't want to say anything incriminating, even if, he's just talking. So the first thing I said is, are you recording this conversation? And he said no. Okay, so that's good to have that on the recording. So then I said, well, what is the situation? What's the problem? And he goes, well, that AC unit is too close to the pool. And I said, well, you can just have the AC moved. By law, you can move it 6 inches away from your house. It's 12 inches now, so you just have to pay to move it 6 inches. And he goes, I'm not paying to move the AC unit because it's going to void my warranty. This is what his argument was. And I go, well, actually, they may say it's going to void your warranty, but you live in California. California has some of the biggest consumer laws ever. They're not going to, if you went to court or something, they're not going to void the warranty. They could say that, and a lot of people do say these different things, but it's not really the truth. So my first question was, well, how much are you suing the company for? Are you saying that they're not going to move the AC unit? They said they would not. And I said, well, how much are you suing the company for? And he goes, the full amount. I said the full amount of the pool. And back then, I remember the pool was like maybe $40,000. Yeah, I'm suing for the full amount. And I said, well, I can't talk to you anymore. And so sure enough, I called the company. I let them know what the situation was. And they said, we're not moving that AC unit because now they have liability if the AC unit were to fail. This guy could end up suing him. So he understood it. You wrote it on the plan, Dave. I mean, it was clear that it was his responsibility to do it. He's probably looking at $500 to do it, and he wants to sue us. And I go, I only have one question for you. And he goes, what? This is the owner of the pool company I used to work for. I said, are you going to represent me in case of a litigation? He goes, yes, of course we're going to represent you. I go, well, then I'm not talking to the guy anymore. And he goes, we appreciate that, because that's what they try to do, is get you on their side and use you to testify against the pool company you're working for. And I just will not do that. So anyway, everything worked out. I think he did have to go. They had an arbitration clause in there. So if you don't have an arbitration clause, then they can actually take you to small claims court. But if you do have an arbitration clause in your contract, then you're required to go to an arbitrator. And the arbitrator will actually, he might be an attorney or a judge, and he'll actually read the legal reading of the contract. And most contractors will have that in their contract. It gives them a a lot better advantage of not having to lose against the lawsuit, and they can't take you to small claims court. So when they did the legal reading of it, it was very, very obvious that I put it down there that he would have to move that AC unit on his own, and whatever, if they weren't going to cover him, which is not true, then he would be responsible for the AC unit, and that was the whole issue of it. So it's important to kind of know the law so that you don't get into trouble. Now, the company that I work for, I could definitely get paid more if I was an independent rep, but I would really have to carry E&O insurance, and I could be personally sued, meaning that if I did a design or something that was involved where I would be listed as another, they call it a John Doe. I think you can list like 27 or something. They would just list my name in there, just in case that there was ever anything that I could be liable for, then they could sue me against it. And so that's what happens when you're an independent rep. And a lot of times the pool companies, they'll throw you under the bus. They'll say, well, that guy doesn't even work for us. He's an independent rep. If you want to sue somebody, you need to sue him. That's what they'll do. And if it's something major. And so then they'll go to an attorney, and then an attorney will say, oh yeah, he's actually the designer, so since this is a design issue, you're going to have to go to him. Now with Swan Pools, all of our guys, I believe, in the state of California, I've always thought this, we're all W-2s. I'm a W-2, which means I'm an employee. Now, it protects me under workers' comp. If I were to walk in the backyard and fall into a hole, and twist my ankle or hurt myself, and that has happened. If I was in the backyard and I got bit by a dog, that has happened, so these are things that I know other people that have been covered under workers' comp because they were in a W-2. And then in liability, if somebody wants to sue me, they can't sue me personally. They have to sue the pool company. And I'm an agent of the pool company. And so, you could try, but I'm an employee. So this would be very similar, and I always give this example that, say you went to Costco, and there's a guy, you're the guy that's driving the pickles around on a forklift, and all of a sudden you hit the brakes and all the pickles fall onto the ground. And there's pickles everywhere, and because they were in glass jars. Now, I would feel really bad that I did that. Maybe there was a reason or whatever, but I'm not personally liable for those pickles. They can't come back and say, oh, you owe us, $300 for all those pickles that you dropped on the floor. In California, you can't do that. You can't penalize your employee for that, because I am an employee. I'm indemnified. And so at my age of the game, you do not want to be brought into a lawsuit. They're not fun, and there's no winners except for the attorneys. So we've had some tough jobs, tough things that have happened. Some of them, I think, are people that are already looking for a litigation before they get signed up with me. And you have to really read people well. So in addition to being a salesman, I consider myself a gatekeeper, which is somebody that looks at customers and thinks, uh-oh, this is really not good. This is not going to be good. In fact, the one I recently had with a person with the brain injury, I had issues because I would tell her things like, we're not going to give you a cost breakdown that breaks down every segment in different dollars amount. We call that proprietary information. That's information that the pool company owns. We're not going to give it out to everybody or give out lists of subcontractors. And so she understood that, she accepted it, and then in my next conversation, or a couple of conversations later, she asked for it again. And she said, I really need this so that I can use it as a comparison against other pool companies to make sure I'm bidding apples and apples. And she goes, I need it because I need to be able to review it, to compare it, and I need my legal team to take a look at it. Now, she might have thought, well, I'm just going to say my legal team, just to kind of scare me or, make sure that I'm going to do it. But that's the opposite of what you want to tell a gatekeeper, because I'm not going to walk into a litigious thing when the lady can't remember what I said at the previous one, the previous appointment. And so, it's not just sales in California. You have to be really careful about what you're looking at. If there's, certain people that have professions that are very litigious, like a construction litigation lawyer. You might not want to sign them up, because these guys are not only good, but they're going to ask you questions in a certain way that's not really friendly. It's to make sure that you've locked yourself in to something. Like, say for instance, a lot of salesmen like to say, oh yeah, I guarantee it's not going to be a problem. Now, you don't want to guarantee anything like that. You don't know. There might be an easement or something in there. So I never make promises like that. And I think that's a good thing just in general in life, not to make promises to the person you love, to your children, of things that you can't control, so you can really bring yourself down by doing that. So I'm on my way, and I'm going to be, it's only like 35 minutes away, but I left an hour ahead just so that I'd be there on time. And as always, there's traffic, even on a Saturday at 9 o'clock, so it's slowing me down, but I should be there right at 10 o'clock. And then I'll check back with you after I get through this appointment and kind of let you know about my thoughts and concerns on this. Well, thanks for watching, and I appreciate your guys' time. Subscribe if you can, so we can stick together. And I am going to continue to be putting these kind of videos on here of the life of a pool designer in the state of California. Thank you much, and have a great day.